Give me 1 second. Just setting up the live stream on YouTube. Okay. Okay. Give me 1 second. Just setting up the live stream on YouTube. Okay. Let's start with the prayer. Repeat after me. Om Yam Veda Vyasaya Namah.
Om Veda Vyasaya Namaha.
Om Yam Veda Vyasaya Namah.
Om Veda Vyasaya Namaha.
Om Yam Veda Vyasaya Namah.
Om Vyam Veda Vyasaya Namaha.
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya.
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya.
Koti Surya Samaprabha.
Koti Surya Samaprabha.
Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva.
Nirvignam Kurume Deva.
Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada.
Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada.
Om
Om
Vrishabham
Vrishabham.
Charshaninam
Darshanina
Vishwarupam
Vishwarupam.
Padabhyam
Dasyam.
Brihaspatim
Brihaspatim.
Varenyam
Varenyam.
Om
Om
Urdhvam
Urdhvam
Pranam
Pranam.
Unnayati
Unnayati.
Apanam
Apanam.
Pratyagasyati
Pashyati.
Madhye
Madhye
Vamanam
Vamanam
Asinam
Asinam
Vishve Devaha
Vishvedavaha.
Upasate.
Upasate.
Om.
Om.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we are we are learning the first valli of the second chapter, and there are only a couple of mantras left in this, so we will complete that today. And the first valli of the second chapter started with, how humans, and of course all the animals, but they cannot do the sadhana, so only humans, how we are focused and why we are focused outside. And the mantra says, Paranchikhani Vyatranat Swayambhu Tasmat Parak Pashyati Na Antaratman. That means the Upanishad saying, Paramatma has built our senses in such a way that by nature it takes our minds outside. That by nature it is built that way. And Vyatranat means it is damned that way. It's kind of like it's built that way so that it is not useful by default. So that's how it is built. But the Upanishad says only a few people is this, and they turn their eyes inwards, and that's how the sadhana begins. So that's kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshan avritta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. So amrutatvam icchan. So they understand the cycles, how things just happen again and again and again, and more wanting to achieve something that is everlasting, they turn their eyes inwards. So basically, that's how it starts, right? And then parachaha kaman anuyanti balaha. So it differentiates between the majority of humanity that only pursues or chases after what the senses bring us, but only a few of them actually turn inwards for dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. For them, they know that whatever achievements that we have outside, it will come to an end. There's nothing permanent outside. What is permanent is only found inside. So that dhruva in Sanskrit means that which is like fixed or that which is not transient, right? Dhruva adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. So, and then The Upanishad goes on to say, Yena Rupam Rasam Gandham. So, what Yama is saying here is how Paramatma, because the question of Nachiketa was, whatever Paramatma does here in this world, we know that, but what happens when somebody dies or somebody gets liberated? Do we really need Paramatma at that time? Or do we need Paramatma? What is the role of Paramatma after death, before another birth? So then Yama is explaining, the whole point of Yama explaining is what is true here is true there. That means Paramatma controls us here the same way he controls us after death and also in liberation. So that is etat vaitat. That's exactly what he does there. So the answer to your question. So that is how Yama is answering that. So the first one, Yena Rupam Rasam Gandham Shabdan Sparshams Maitunan Yetenaiva Vijanati Kimatra Parishishyate. Again, it is showing that Paramatma, it is because of Paramatma that we can sense things with our Pancha Indriyas. And it is not our own inherent power, it is a power that's given to us. So basically, it is telling that these are all the things that we are born with. It's not something that we create. And so that and so in this life, what we do is we kind of identify this as our. We never owned any of this, right? And so that realization doesn't happen as long as we are, owning it. But only there when we lose it, then we understand that we never owned it, right? So he's first saying that all the senses through which we know and we do, all of that is the power of that is through Paramatma and not us. And in the next one, he says, Swapnantam Jagaritantam cha ubhau yena anupashyati mahandam vibhumatmanam atva dhiro nachochati. So not only that, he says, that is Jagrata Avastha, but he says all the states of consciousness, which is Jagrat, wakeful, wake state, dream state, deep sleep state, and in between states, right? So it's not, there are in between states too. So between waking state and dream state is like the sleepwalking and all of those things, right? It's kind of it's awareness of waking state as well as dream state. So that is also there. And between dream state and deep sleep state, and that is what I said, murcha avastha, where it's not a deep sleep, which is actually very good for us, nor is it dream state, but it's called murcha. It's called as a dukkha state. So it's not a relaxing state. So they say it's a tamasic state. It's not a relaxing state. So all of the states of consciousness that we go through, it's all his power. It's not us. Right? So it is trying to tell us that whatever we assume that we own, that we don't own it. We don't own it. Right? And then not only that, it says, Ya imam madhvadam veda atmanam jivamantikat Ishanam bhuta bhavyasya na tato vijugapsate etad vaitat. That means not only does he kind of give us the senses and the states of consciousness, he also experiences our experience. But for him, even our suffering is a bliss. So for him, everything is bliss. But he
Katopanishad அவங்க கேட்கணுமா அதான் நீங்க கோட் பண்ணது
can you mute please mute
Katopanishad.
Yeah. So and so then he not only does he give us the power, he also experiences our experience. He knows exactly what we are going through. But for him, all of that is an offering. It's a bliss. So madhvadam means madhu adam. That means honey eater. He is the honey eater, the one who knows honey eater. What is a honey? In Sanskrita, madhu is also ananda. So ananda. So he eats the bliss or experiences the bliss. Our experience for him is bliss. right? And I said that one of the Brahma Sutras, it's like if God is omnipotent or not omniscient, God should also know, Paramatma should know our experience, right? It should also know the suffering of Narakalokas, Andantavas. But if he suffers, then he is not Anandamaya. So how is that resolved? And it says that yes, he is omniscient because he experiences everything that we experience. But for him, it's just an offering that all the devatas are giving, that offering of him. For him, it is a bliss. So there is no suffering for God, right? So that is what it is. It's so he's omniscient without the suffering, but he knows what the suffering is. So that is something beyond what we can understand. It's beyond the logic, right? So that is the fifth one. And then it goes to the bigger picture. It says, Yah Purvam Tapaso Jatam Ajatam Adbhya Purvam Ajayata Guham Pravishya Tishtantam Yo Bhutebir Vyapashyata Etad Vaitat. Then it is saying that this is how creation happens. It says, before there was Shiva, before there was the world, there was Brahma, and he was called Ajata. Ajata means he who has no birth. That all the devatas have different births. Like, for example, if you look at the Purusha Sukta, where it says, Chandrama Manaso Jataha, Chakshus Suryo Ajayata. So that is the original, the creation of these deities, original creation of these deities, and that positions, right? But then in various manvantras, they are born to various rishis or whoever, and in this manvantra, the Indra is called Purandara. So the Indra's name in this one manvantra is Purandara. So, and they are born to Aditi. That Aditi's sons are in this manvantra. In the next manvantra, Bali comes, right? Bali becomes the Indra. So his birth will be as Indra. There will be something else. There will not be Aditi's son. There will be something else, right? Same way before, they were not Aditi's sons. The Devatas were not Aditi's sons. So basically, are born again and again, or the positions are born again and again. Different jivas take up. But the only person that has only one birth and one death is Brahma, right? So Brahma is created, and Virat Purusha, that's the Viraj. Tasmad Virana Jayata Virajo Adi. In Purusha Sukta, the Adi Purusha, that the first the first deity that was creator himself, right? And so he never has birth. So Brahma has no avatars. He is never born in this world, nor does he die. But all the other devatas, they have some kind of an avatar. They are born to somebody, right? The original from Paramatma himself, but then later on they have various births. So that is not there for Brahma. Tapas here is Shiva. So Shiva is born, is the son of Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma. So, and after that comes all the bhutas. Bhutas is all the five panchabhutas and everything that creates this physical world. So Shiva is first creative deity, and then the destructive deity, right? So Shiva is a creator. In the Pancharupi, Shiva is the creator of the Panchabhutas, and then through the Panchabhutas, the whole world. And Panchabhutas are inanimate, whose lords are the Devatas. So creator of all the Devatas from Indra onwards, every Devata is, so it's not just Ganesha and Shanmukha. Shiva is the creator of all the Devatas from Indra onwards. So he's a creator deity. And so there are two variations of, I think I then what happens at birth? It says Guham Pravishya Tishtantam Yo Bhutebir Vyapashyata. That means at birth, when everything was created, Brahma and all the deities and everything was created, Paramatma actually went into each of those creations in his Antaryami form, and through that he created this world. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it speaks of the same thing. So he tat sishtva tadevanupravishyate tad anupravishyat satyat yachabhavate. That means tat sishtva, after creating it, tadeva anupravishate. That means he entered them as their niyamaka. So he is the niyamaka from it. So he created from outside and created as an as a antaryami. He is also controlling from inside. So in and out, everything is Paramatma, right? So that is what it's talking about. That is the sixth mantra. Then, not only that, the destruction of everything is also Paramatma. So here, the Upanishad talks about Paramatma in the female, feminine gender. Ya Ambhavitya Aditir Devatamayi Guham Pravishya Tishtantim Ya Bhulter Vyajayata. That means not only, so when it creates, it also comes in the form of, it's Aditi, not the mother of Devatas. Aditi here in the etymological form, Aditi means she who, that means she who consumes at the end, right? So that is what Aditi means. The etymology of Atti means that she who eats. So she eats the whole universe at the end. And I asked you a question last time, why is this a feminine form? Why is the Upanishad talking about Paramatma's destructive rupa in a feminine form? Anybody? Unmute and you can, if you can answer that.
Represents Kali, no? Like last time you mentioned.
Durga rupa, right? So the destruction happens through the Durga rupa, and then there is Narsimha rupa, Sankarshan rupa. So with the Durga rupa, within Durga rupa, Aditi is the of the Durga rupa, and she is the one that consumes in the end. So what at creation, the goddess of destruction is already entering everything. So at the beginning, the end is already written. So pranena sambhavatyaditir devatamahi. So she comes with prana, and jiva comes. Prana brings the jiva into the sharira, into the body, and with that, destruction is also coming. The goddess of destruction here, the feminine form of Paramatma, is also here. And then Guham Pravishya Tishtantim, she sits within our heart, the heart, and then she sees being worshipped by all these devatas, because she, in the end, she is the one who eats what is created. It's a very beautiful way of presenting it. And then we also saw the seventh mantra, Aranyor Nihito Jatabeda Garbha Iva Subrito Garbini Bihi Dive Dive Idyaha Jagruvadbir Havishbir Manushya Agnihi Etat Vaitat. So then it's saying, so that all of this, then it's saying, how do you know this? How do you do this sadhana? And it compares it to Arani sticks, right? Where those who came to the the Sastra Homa, we saw that how the Agni was produced by the friction. The Arani sticks, these are the sticks, the wooden sticks, and they would use the friction to generate the fire, and it is comparing the sticks to the Guru and the Shishya, and the friction is the discussion and the debates and discussion that goes on in the Guru and Shishya and the peer group. So knowledge is gained by friction or discussion, right? And I said that it is not. It is, you have to know by critical, as well as you have to criticize as well as be critical of. So it is kind of how the peer review system works. Exactly what Aranyor Nihito Jataveda. That means just like so the Agni, Jataveda is Agni. The Agni that is in the stick emerges out when there is a friction. The same way the knowledge within the Guru and the Shishya comes out for Shishya to understand when there is of discussion and debates, right? Garbha iva subrato garbhini, and it also, the Upanishad compares like what? It is like the fetus in a well-worn pregnancy. That means what happens to fetus? It grows. The same way, our knowledge happen. And we are confused when we take things as we get it, without any criticality in it, without any discussion, any debates, right? So, but when that is done, then it's all of confusion, right? So it's not knowledge. Not it's not based on authority. Knowledge is based on debates and discussion, right? And I had a
Hello. Hello, Sunil. We are not able to hear you.
yeah. Hold on. Okay. So I was saying that knowledge has to be critical. That means whatever knowledge you produce has to be critical of the other point of view. And you should also expose yourself to be criticized. And that is how that friction is that friction is when criticality and criticism and critical happens. That is when actual real knowledge happens. Otherwise, if you take things as they are, then it will be a confused state, because it is going to be uncritically accepted knowledge that is not part of sadhana. That is not like a fetus that grows in a pregnant woman, where it's actually growing day by day, right? And the Upanishad says knowledge has to grow like the fetus of a good pregnancy. Dive dive idyah jagruvatbih havishmadbir manushyaber etat agni etat vaita. And then it says it happens with studies, and it happens with rituals. So everything is bringing together. So it's not just in Indian some of the Indian traditions, like ritual is they look down upon, right? And then it's only knowledge is the greatest. Ritual is not. So that is not there, right? And we have seen that in Nachiketa's second question, that the ritual has to be transformed into spiritual. Then it is actually at the level of knowledge, because it generates knowledge. It's a cause of knowledge. So ritual and knowledge are together. So they are not, one is not lower and the other higher. So that's what he's saying. Jagruvat bihi. That means they are awakened to real knowledge. Havishmat bihi. They are the ones that are offered. There's yajna, there's a jnana yajna, tapo yajna. There's so many different yajnas that Gita talks about. So all of those yajnas, that when that is done, then that knowledge, and that knowledge which talks about the Paramatma is idyaha, is always praised and worshipped through these, right? So that is, so how it is done is what this very, very important verse is, like how should knowledge be gathered is what this is saying. It cannot be uncritical gathering of knowledge. Somebody says something or some book says something. I've told you many times, there's apparent contradiction in two different, even within one book, whether it's Upanishads or in the Puranas or whatever it is, there's a lot of apparent contradictions, right? That is why the Brahma Sutra says you need to first understand the Shastra Samanvaya. That means you have to, all these apparent contradictions, they're not real contradictions, they're apparent contradictions that needs to be resolved first. That's the key to resolve that. And once that is resolved, that knowledge has to be gathered and criticized, and that is when it actually grows. So you will have a conviction in. Otherwise, if somebody comes with a better, like a more dominant way of telling you, you're going to lose out. So you're not going to understand things, right? So that's very, very important to understand that knowledge is not just reading a book. Knowledge is not, listening to a lecture. Knowledge is being critical and being criticized. That is what knowledge, how knowledge is generated. Right? Very, very important mantra from Katopanishad. Any question? Okay, and I think we also learned the last one, ninth one. So yatachodeti suryaha astam yatra cha gacchati tam devaha sarve arpitaha tadu natyeti kaschana etad vaita. So, and then this one is saying, and I think that's the reason why we were looking at the chart and house and all of this was that all the devatas, whether it's in the body or in the universe, right? It's a macrocosmic and microcosmic equivalence. They mirror each other. What is true in the body, yatha pindande, tatha brahmande. What is true inside is also true outside. So it is saying that in the body, the universe, the eyes gives us the power to see, but that's an offering of Surya Deva to Paramatma, who is inside the heart. The same way the Indra is the Devata of all the Indriyas and the hands. So he will empower the hands to do what the hands do as an offering to Paramatma, not that I am doing it. So none of the Devatas think sarve arpitaha. That means they're all of their jobs that they do within the body and in the universe. For them, it is not a sense of I am doing, it's a sense of I am offering. You are the one that's doing through us, is the sense that they have, right? So, and last time we saw that the 12th house, when we get that sense, which in the Gita is called Nishkama Karma, right? Where it's not me, doing, even though I am physically doing, but I don't have that ahankara, mamakara in what is when we reach that state as well. So that all of the Upanishads and everything and the Gita is talking about that Nishkama Karma, which is what this is. Sarve arpita taduna atyati kaschana. Nobody at any point of time will go beyond the red lines that they have been given. Right? Indra is supposed to do his job. He will never, transgress that. None of the Devatas transgress that. Not only that, they will never grow beyond. Nobody, no Devata, no power will grow beyond the Paramatma. Paramatma is always infinite and always Paramatma. So there is no competition, right? There is one and always that one. So na atyati kaschana. Right? I think we had completed until 9. So now we have a couple more mantras. So if you have any questions, this is the time to ask, and then we'll start from 10th mantra. Any questions? Okay.
No questions here.
Okay, let's start.
Sunilji, I
Yes.
was thinking, Krishnan here, were you looking to link this mantra with the connection between the planets and sun?
The connections between which? Oh,
the 9.
No, not
looks like
just
you were
the,
going there, but I don't know whether you concluded that thought.
Were you there last time?
I missed the last class.
So what I was showing was that if you look at the horoscope, the 12th house is the house of liberation. I mean, not in the Rashi, but just taking it as the 12th house. And what are the sense of the 12th house? 12th house is giving, letting go, having losing ego. Right?
Okay.
All sense. So that what I'm saying is that is what is needed, and that's what I'm saying, that you cannot have the ahankara. The 12th house has no ahankara. Sun is actually, it's called as the worst place for the sun to be is the 12th house. Because the natural part of the sun is what? To have ego. Right? So then the sun, sun will have no ego in the 12th house. So for sun, the 12th house is actually not a good house to be in, because nobody will listen to it. Right? First is the best one for the sun, because then it has that, because it's the personality, right? It's the personality that it comes out. So that is the important one. So 12th house is where the ego goes to die. That means there is no ego in the 12th house. Which means what? What are the requirements of moksha? Moksha sadhana. Letting go, 12th house. Right? Giving, 12th house. Sharing, giving and all of that stuff. And then, no ego, death of ego, humility, right? So all of these are the things that is based on 12th house. And then I also said, right, 11th is Kumbha, natural 11th. So Kumbha is what? Kumbha is Kumbha Mela. Kumbha is where all people go to meet, right? It's all the gathering. Holy Mela, Diwali Mela, Kumbha Mela, all Mela is where all people are there, right? So that is Kumbha. But then when you go to Meena, it is you alone. Alone. So at a certain point, sadhana is not a community event. It's not a communal event. It is an individual thing. Right? The 12th house says that dhyana and samadhi and all of those things, you cannot go on YouTube and and show to the world I'm doing all of these things. At some point, you get out of this and be in your own, by yourself. So 12th house is loneliness, right? By yourself, not loneliness, but by yourself. Okay? So whatever those things, the significations of the 12th house are, that is what is required for moksha. Right? In Kumbha, you're actually doing the opposite of that. So that is what I was explaining last time. That so that sun, all of those things, that ego has to go. So what I was telling was, the philosophy of Vedanta is already encoded in the Jyotisha.
Okay.
That is very important to know. It's not like, oh, how am I lucky? No, that's not what it is. So I'm saying that for sadhana, Jyotisha will tell you the path that is required. It's all encoded already. And I was saying that I'm going to kind of share those things as the sadhana path, how it is shown and all of that. That way it is, it becomes more interesting, when we do that.
Sure.
So in that context, I was saying, and Arpitaha, basically connecting this to offering, they're offering Nishkama Karma is in the 12th. Right? But Kumbha is what? Sakama Karma. See, that's why if you look at the 10th house is the house of Karma, the 11th is the second from 10th, which means it's Phala. So Kumbha is where, all of our desires are there. Right? And it's ruled by Rahu. Right? So all the desires are there. 12th is where the go away. That's why it's ruled by Jupiter. Right? So that's how it is. Arpitaha, that means Devatas, when they offer, they have no desire, nor they have any, the sense of ownership in that. They have a sense of duty of doing it, not a sense of ownership. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. So now we will start from the 10th mantra. So it says, Yadeveha tadamutra, yadamutra tadanviha, mrutyoha samrutyam apnoti, ya iha nameva pashyati. Beautiful mantra. So, and if you remember, for example, the Shukla Yajurveda Shanti mantra. Anybody knows the Shukla Yajurveda Shanti mantra? Purnamada Purnamidam, you should know that, right? So, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashikyate, right? You all know that. So now, what is Adha? What is Idam? You can unmute and tell me what you think it means.
So Sunil, in Kannada, Ada means Adu, Ida means Idu.
Correct. Yes. Adu means that one, there. Idam means inside, right? So that means it's saying the Anurupa, Paramatma is Antaryami is Anurupa. And then Paramatma outside is Brihadrupa. Right? So what it's saying is that which is inside is as infinite as that which is outside. Right? And so there is no difference between those two. And so that sense this brings, because here, if you look at here, ya pranena sambhavatyaditir devatamayi guham pravishya tishtantim ya bhutebhir vyajayata. It says, not only she is with all the Indriya Abhimani Devatas here, she is also taken avatars with Indriya Abhimani Devatas in this world at various times. So she is not only inside, she is also taking forms outside. What it's saying. So Paramatma is taking forms outside. So now, what this is trying to say here is, yat iha, yat eva iha, what is here, which is here in this world, within this body, whatever here, both, it could mean both. In this world, within our body, amutra, that is exactly the same there. Right? And then yat amutra, tadu anu iha, whatever is there, that exactly is here. Mrityoha sa mrityum apnoti ya iha iva pashyati. They go from death to death. You can say death to death. That means one, there'll be in the cycle of births and deaths, and continuously in the births and deaths. Or you can say from one death to the another death. So death of death is basically tamas. So they go to tamas or narakaloka is also one way. Mrityoha mrityum. That means the death of the death. That means after death, the death of after death is narakaloka, suffering. So that could be that, or mrityoha mrityum could be death after death. That means in one life to another life. We keep dying, right? Getting birth and born and dying. So they go from one death to another death. Who thinks that there is nana? You know what nana means? Not the Hindi nana. In Sanskrit, what is nana?
Negations of negation?
No. Nana vida parimala pushpani. What is nana?
Or different varieties of.
Varieties, different. Nana is a Samskrita word. It means variety, different variety. What it is saying is that which is within us, Paramatma within us, he is exactly the same out there. Or I can say that which is Paramatma within us, within me, is exactly the same within you, within every being, within everything, and also out there, beyond in different lokas. Exactly the same. Right? There's no difference at all. Then they who see difference in these various forms, they go from death to death. So that means what it is saying is there is no difference in any form of Paramatma. It's very difficult to think. Somebody who is within me is the
Can't hear you, Sunil.
Networking issue.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So what I was saying is the Paramatma within us or within me is the same as every Paramatma form everywhere in the world, in the universe and outside. So it says those who see a difference in that, they go from death to death. That means their knowledge is not full in that sense. So there is no difference between any forms. They're all infinite. And I was saying Krishna is the same as Rama, Rama is the same as Matsya, Matsya is the same as Kapila, Kapila is all of these forms of Paramatma, they are all the same. Don't see the difference, is what the Upanishad is vehemently saying. Do not see the difference in different forms of Paramatma. The Paramatma in me is the same of Paramatma of a person that is suffering in hell. There is no difference in the forms, even though there is difference within the jiva. One is a dushta jiva, one might be not a dushta jiva. There might be all of these differences. So there is no difference within that difference. That means Paramatma is the only thing that is the same among all the differences. So na iha nana iva pashyati. So he should not be seeing as if there is a difference. There is no difference between different forms of Paramatma, that is Antaryami, within everything in the universe. Okay. So that is that is part of the sadhana. Never see a difference in forms of Paramatma. It's always the same. Right? So that which is within me is the same one within everybody. It could be your enemy, it could be your friend, it could be an animal, it could be an insect, or it could be something else, right? So, but the form of Paramatma within all of us is the same. There's no difference, not even a bit of difference. Nana iva means not even kinchit. There's not even a slight difference between any of the forms of Paramatma, and they're all, and connecting this to Purnamada Purnamidam, that and all of these forms it's all the same. But we see them as different, but they're all the same. But we don't know how that is, but that's how it is, right? It's infinite. That which is atomic within me is also infinite. And how can an atomic be infinite? I don't know. How that is, I don't know. But that's what the Upanishad says, is that there's no difference between atomic and infinite. Okay? And the Upanishad says that is a very important sadhana, that you should always remember that there is no difference in any forms of Paramatma. That is the only thing. There's difference everywhere else. But when it comes to Paramatma, Paramatma is always the same anywhere and everywhere. It's the same. It's not even similar. It's the same. Okay? And then it goes on to say in the 10th mantra, Manasa eva idam aptavyam na iha nanasti kinchana. Is a very famous sentence here, a phrase. Na iha nanasti kinchana. There's no difference anywhere. Is there. And so if you look at for example, if you look at Advaita, so there's no difference in any jiva. So there's no difference at all. So that interpretation is from Advaita interprets that is Neha Nanasti is a Mahavakya. There's no difference. So that comes from this. Neha Nanasti. It's like Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Neha Nanasti Kinchana. So all of these things are considered as a Mahavakya. So in Advaita. So that is, but it comes from here. Mrityoha samrityam gacchati. Ya iha naneva pashyati. Same thing here. So manasa eva idam aptavyam. So you need to understand this reflection. Manasa eva. Manana shilanat. Manas. That means what is manas? What is the power of manas? Power is reflection, to reflect, to think, to contemplate. It says this should be understood after very deep contemplation. What is it? In the next one, it is saying Neha Nana. That means here, see, not only is the difference within me and within everything else and with Paramatma outside, so if you look at the what kinds of differences we have, and if you look at Shankara Bhashya, he talks in I think it is in Chandogya Upanishad. He talks of Swagata Bheda, Swajatiya Bheda, Vijatiya Bheda. So there are differences. There are three kinds of differences, he says, and it's fantastic the way that works here. Swagata Bheda means what? Difference within. That means my eyes are different from my nose. My nose is different from my hands. So every part of me is different, right? So basically, you can think of all of us and everything in creation as a combining of many things together. We are a combination. We are a union of things, right? But Atma is not like that. Is not like that. Paramatma is not like that. So there is no parts to Paramatma. It's partless, right? So everything else in this universe is parts, has parts. But if something has parts, then there is a difference between different parts, right? My hand, one hand is different from the other hand. There's a finger, one finger from different, one nail different. So there's all these differences. This is called as Swagata Beda. Swagata Beda means we have differences within ourselves because we are a union of parts. So Jatiya Beda means what? It's differences within the same kind. What is differences within the same kind? That means we are all the same species, right? One and another human, even though they are the same jati. Now, this is not jati, is basically means same kind. In Sanskrit, jati means same kind. That means one human is different from another human, even though they are the same species, right? We have the same kind of hands and legs and all of those things, but my hands are not same as your hands, right? So that's called as Swajatiya Bheda. That's within the same class, you can say same class, there is differences, right? So there's within ourselves there's differences, which is Swagata Veda, Swajatiya Veda, within the same class there is differences, and then Vijatiya Veda. Of course, Vijatiya Veda is Vijati itself means what? The difference between a human and a frog. It's not the same species. There's different species, right? So there's you can think of that as a radical difference. So between one human to another human, it's a class difference. Even though they are similar, they're not the same. There's difference. But between, say, a human being and a frog or a fly, it's a radical difference. Right? It's because it's not the same class. That's why it's called Vijatiya Bheda. So Shankara explains this as there are three kinds of differences. Here, Manasaiva idam aptavyam. That means this needs to be understood through deep contemplation. What? Paramatma has no differences, which is Swagata. That means, even though we see, to us, we see there's a hand, there's a leg, there is eyes and all of that. The eyes are the same as the hand. The hand is the same as the head. The head is the same as the feet. There's no difference. There's no difference. Everything is the same. And the beautiful mantra in the Taittiriya Upanishad, where it's called, it says Anandamaya. When it's explaining the Anandamaya Kosha, it's a Priyameva Shiraha. Yeah, what was the question?
15 years.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So the Upanishad says, Tasya Priyameva Shiraha, Modo Dakshina Pakshaha, Pramoda Uttara Pakshaha, Ananda Atma, Brahma Pucham Pradishtat. So that in the Anandamaya, in Ananda Purusha, so Anandamaya Kosha, he says his head is Priya. There's different kinds of pleasure that we get. So there's a Priya, there is a Moda, there's a Pramoda, there's an Ananda, and all of those things. It says his head is Priya, his right hand is Moda, his left hand is Pramoda, his middle part is Ananda, and legs, it says. Now that is a big thing, right? Oh, so if Parabrahma is legs, then if somebody has legs, Parabrahma is legs of that form, then the whole body is greater than the legs. So that should be another bigger person, right? So and that is why that is the first the reconciliation that in the first chapter that Vedavyasa does. Anandamayobhyasat is that sutra where he says, no. There is no other greater person than Parabrahma because his legs are his body. His form, every form is the same. His head is the same as leg. Leg is the same as body, full. Eyes are the same as everything. There's no Swagata Beda in Paramatma. Therefore, when that Upanishad says that Parabrahma is his legs, it is also infinite himself. Right? Because we can refer to Paramatma, and if you look at Krishna Avatara, Krishna Avatara, Purna Avatara and all of that, which makes no sense in this sense. because every avatara is Purna. There is, I believe in Bhagavata, where where the devatas go and say for request to take the avatar of Krishna, and then says that Vishnu pulls a hair, a white and a black hair, it says, and then that hair becomes Krishna. Now, what is that? It is basically saying that in an infinity, every part of infinity is infinity. So he pulls the hair doesn't mean anything. It's not like one amsha. There's no Paramatma amsha. Amsha is also infinite. So you need to think. See, the idea of infinity in Indian thought is amazing, because a part of infinity is also infinite. Is already there. There's no finite part of an infinite, right? That's very important to understand. So when the Bhagavata Purana says he pulled his black hair and then became Krishna, that is, what is that? It's also Purna Rupa, right? So even though it's called Purna Rupa, from Vishnu's hair it came, right? So it is not, Krishna is not the Purna, it's fully manifesting his powers. It's not like Rama is any less, or Narasimha is less or nothing. It's nothing like that. All of them are infinite, right? Because every part of him is infinite. So there is no part, and he's partless. His legs are his head is his whole body, his eyes are his, and his karma is himself. There's no difference. So in us, what my speech is different from me. For Paramatma, there is no difference like that. Everything is the same. Everything is one. Infinite. Right? So that is what Upanishad said. This is how you need to contemplate Paramatma. Do not think of him as any less in any form. He is infinite in everything. Within me is the same infinite Paramatma within you. Within you is in the same Paramatma that's in a virus. In outside, everything is the same Paramatma. That is how you should. Manasa eva idam aptavyam. You need to understand this concept this way. If you don't, you go from death to death, is what he's saying. Okay? Very, very important. So, you look at all this politics about, Varna and all of those things. I mean, how people are fools. And people are supposed to be fools, because, only a few are the ones that turn their eyes inwards. But if you look at this, there's all this big hue and cry about, in the Purusha Sukta, Mukha, like from Mukha came Brahmana Varna, from his Pada came Shudra Varna. See how it is, they made Brahmana Varna higher and Shudra Varna lower because it's the feet. Now, if you understand this concept, Neha Nanasti Kinchana, I mean, this is how foolish it is. There is no difference between head and feet. It is the functionality it is showing. Not that one is greater and one is lesser. In Paramatma, there's nothing. You can say the left, it even says that, his left toes, the dust on the left toe is what the universe is. So it's like that. There is no, it's infinite through. So it's not like the head is greater than the feet. Everything is the same. The Varna that is shown as emerging, Brahmanosya Mukhamasi, Bahu Rajanya Kritaha, Uru Tadasya Edvaishya, Padbyam Shudro Ajayata. If you now look at it, is there any difference? Is there any there is no difference, because Neha Nanasti Kinchana. Everything is infinite. So the difference is in the functionality it is saying. Just because the sun eyes, what does it mean? Because the sun rules the eyes, rules the sight. It is not like anything is any less in Paramatma, in anybody. That's not what it is. Because Paramatma's feet is the same as Paramatma's head, is the same as Paramatma himself. Every part of him is infinite. Every part of infinite is infinite. Right? Very, very important to understand this. Do not see God as anywhere. All forms of God, anywhere is the same. Okay? Very, very important. Any question? Me?
You were talking about Varna, difference and other.
Yes.
The context of everything being same.
Not everything being same. Again, very important to understand. God is same.
Yeah.
Not everything is the same.
God is same, but the
Yes.
one came from X, Y, Z. How does it fit into the whole logic?
That is what it is saying, right? So there is, and then and the Upanishad says he is beyond tarka. So he is beyond logic. So logic is applicable within a finite and limited world. Logic applies because if A is not, if not A and A are not the same. But when it comes to infinity, logic doesn't work. And that is the whole thing, right? When you come to infinity, every part of infinity is infinity. There's no part, right?
But what I am trying to find out is,
Yes.
we are differentiating between these people in this world. You
Correct.
mean that is ignorance?
No, that is not ignorance. Differentiating between forms of God is ignorance. So what it is saying, nana iva pashyati, where there is no difference, if you see a difference, that is the ignorance. And that is only true when we are dealing with infinity, right? Because part of infinity is also infinity.
Okay.
Within the finite sense.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's go to now it's told us, the how Paramatma is in this world and how it is the same. Basically, all what it is trying to tell us is that which he is here is the same. His functionality, what he does, his position, everything is the same. After death, that's the same. After liberation, he is the same to us. He's beyond. He is always beyond us. That's what etat vaitat. This is exactly there. What is the answer to your question? That's what Yama is saying. Now, so knowing all of these things, how do we see the sadhana has three things, right? There are three essential ways, things that we need to do for sadhana. One is called as shravana, that is gathering of information. Yeah, what is that?
Manana.
Okay, shravana, which is to gather information. Manana, which is to contemplate. It's not just information gathering. You need to contemplate on it. Like you need to separate the ignorant things from the actual true things, right? And I said, like Aranyor Nihito Jataveda, you are not knowledgeable once you gather knowledge. It's not about gathering knowledge. It is creating the quality of knowledge. That's most important. And that happens with friction, right? Aranyor Nihito Jataveda. So that is very important. Shravana is gathering. Manana is deep contemplation where we get the essence of that knowledge. And dhyana is that conviction of manana, and that's the 12th house, where what we have contemplated, that we meditate on that to attain that liberation, right? That freedom. So that's the three stages: gathering, contemplation, and then meditation. These are the three stages of sadhana. Now, first part is, it is given us, and it says manasa eva idam aptavyam. So you have to contemplate in all these things that has been told by Yama. And then he says, now how do you meditate? And this another famous 12th mantra, very famous here. It says, Angushta matra purusho madhya atmani tishtati ishanam bhuta bhavyasya natato vijugapsate etat vaitat. So he says, how do you contemplate? It says, Angushta matra purushaha. That means when you meditate, think of him as being in a thumb kind of space, size of a thumb space. But within the heart, there is a size of a thumb in which he is present as our Antaryami Rupa. He is present everywhere. But as our Antaryami Rupa, he is in the heart. That is where we need to meditate on, right? Guham Pravishyatishtam theme. So that is our special form that is for us. Our meditation eventually has to be on the form which is within us. And then you'll come to that what is that personal form of that infinite, that which is within us, that we need to meditate on. That comes in the next Valli, where he talks about that. And we have to meditate on what? Within the thumb space, the size of the thumb space within the heart, there is this presence of this Antaryami, right? And he says, Madhya Atmani Tishtati. He is within us. So in Samskrita, there are two meanings to Atma, I mean, many meanings to Atma, but two meanings to Atma. One is the center of the body, right? That is what Deha. Atma is Deha in a very close sense. Atma, and then Atma is center body, and then which is like the chest area is called Atma. And then in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Ananda Atma, right? The middle part is Ananda, right? In the Anandamaya Kosha. And then Atma is Jivatma, and Atma is also Ahankara, Atma is Jivatma, and then Atma is Paramatma. So there's so many different senses of the word Atma. Right? So here, Madhya Atmani Tishtati is what. So again, why is it said the Madhya Atmani Tishtati is in the heart? Because if you look at your body, what is the center of the body? Where is your body center?
Navel.
Your physical body center.
Stomach, navel.
Navel. So why is it heart? Why does the Upanishad always say the middle is the heart, when the middle is actually navel?
From navel, it is one knee. I mean, whatever the difference of our.
No.
Not that.
Maybe Paramatma stays.
No. Look at this. What is that?
Anahata Chakra. Anahata Chakra. Where?
No, I know, but why is it the heart? The middle is not the heart. The middle is the navel.
It is the Mooladhara for all the.
No. Mooladhara is in the bottom.
No. It is the main cause for the all functions. Maybe because of that.
No. Again, Madhya Atmani, middle of the body, is not heart. It is the navel. But here it is used in the sense of heart. Why is that? See, remember, how things are encoded in this, right? You can just go through this and completely miss out. And again, this is without the commentaries and all of those things, we will not know all of these various things that are encoded and hidden in these mantras. See, when you're standing up, the middle is the navel. When you're sitting, right, the middle is the heart. So the dhyana, the sitting, right, your crossed leg sitting. When you're sitting in a crossed leg, the heart becomes the center. Right? Beautiful. That's what Madhya Atmani is, right? What? Meditation is not, dhyana is not standing up. Dhyana is sitting down, crossed leg. And then in sitting down crossed leg, the middle is the heart. Right? So all of that is built into Madhya Atmani Tishtati. Right? So when you are crossed leg sitting down for the dhyana, then the heart is the middle of the body, middle of the Atma, which is your body. And then within that, the space the size of your thumb is Paramatma. It's called, it's actually called Atma form. But then Jiva is also in our hearts. And within Jiva is also Paramatma is there. It's called Antaratma. So there are two forms of Paramatma, which the Upanishad spoke earlier. Atma and Antaratma. As Atma, he is sitting with Atmanam Jivamantikat, right? In one of the mantras, he says, right? He is close to the Jiva. Here, if you look at this, Ya imam madvadam veda Atmanam Jivamantikat. That means he is Atma that is sitting. Antika means Duram is far away. Antikam means close by. He sits close by to the Jiva. That is called as Atma. He is sitting within the Jiva himself. The Jiva Chetana himself has, and it's called Antaratma. So there are two forms, one with him, one within him, or one with us in the heart and one within us in the heart. And those are two forms. One is called Atma and one is called Antaratma. So these are the two forms. So that is clear, right? Angushtamatra Purusho Madhya, and it's talking about thumb-like space, which is within the heart, and within that lives Atma, Jivatma. Within Prana, Prana is holding the Jivatma, right? And then within the and next to it is Atma form of Paramatma, and within the Jiva is Antaratma form of Jivatma. I mean, Antaratma form of Paramatma within the Jiva. Right? There are these two forms. So, in your meditation, your mind's eye should focus on your heart, and within the heart there is a space the size of, and within that there is Prana, and within Prana is is Jivatma, and next to the Jivatma, Paramatma, and within the Jivatma is Antaratma. So there are these forms, and that is where our meditation. The person that is cross-legged sitting for meditation, right? That's Madhya Atmani Tishtati, right? And it says, see, before it spoke about here and there, right? What is here? No different from there, finite. Here it says, Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya Natato Vijugupsate. That means what? What is now is a true before, and what is now is a true in the future. So in time and in space, Paramatma is infinite. It's infinite in the past, infinite now, infinite in the future, and he is beyond time. So there's a past, present, and future is for us because we are constrained within time. But he's Ishanaha Bhuta Bhavyasa. He's from the past, from now, and our future. He is always going to be Ishana. He is the Lord of creation always. Right? Not Tato Vijigupsate. One who knows this and meditates on that form which is within his heart or her heart, that way, now Vijigupsate is going to be freed from himself. Right? He's going to not protect himself in the sense that I spoke about the shadow and Jungian psychology last time, so I'll not go through that again. But how once we accept, that is what is the greatest, then we don't try to hide anything. Everything is like an open book, and that's not Vijigupsate means. Jugupsa means hiding. We hide that we are ashamed of, but when we know this truth, we are no longer ashamed of anything. Everything is free. We free ourselves of that shame, and that's not tato Vijigupsate. Yetat vaitat. This is what you've asked. Okay, and then same thing. It goes on. Let me finish this, and then I will come to a question. Angushtamatra Purusho Jyotirivakaha Ishano Bhutabhavyasya Eva Adya Sa Ushvaha Etad Vaitat. Beautiful. Again, he says, in the thumb space within the heart, there is, how do you, he says, think of the Atma that's there. How do you think? He says, Jyotiriva Adhumaka, as if it is a light, the flame without the smoke. Adhuma, there's no smoke in that light. It's just the light, that flame. It's just a flame, fire. Think of that, him sitting in our heart within the thumb space as a flame without any smoke. That is how we should visualize when we are thinking that. And then what it is, again, in the three time, he says, Ishanaha, he is again the Lord, Bhuta Bhavyasya, in the past, and Saeva Adya, whatever he is now, Sa Ushvaha, that indeed he is in the future. Shvaha means in the future. So whatever he is now, he is in the future. There is no change in him. He is infinite in time, and infinite in space, and within space, within time, everything is infinite. That's what you should, how meditate. Right? So giving the knowledge, it has now given us asked us to contemplate, Manasa eva idam aptavyam, contemplate, and then he has given us the dhyana. How do you meditate? You meditate within the heart, and you meditate on Paramatma as what? A flame like form without a smoke, and the constant flame without a smoke, which is sitting in the heart. That is how you should meditate on Paramatma. This is what you asked. That's what he says. Okay, so very important. So na iha nana asti kinchana. What is here is there. What is there is here. Everything is the same. Paramatma is always infinite. There's no difference within him. But what is now is in the future. What is now is also the past. So there's no difference in past, present, future for Paramatma. He's infinite overall. He's always the Lord. Ishanaha bhutavavyasya. It's not like, in the future he's overtaken by somebody else. Never going to happen. Right? He's always the infinite Lord of everything. He's going to remain that. And that's how our meditation should be within that flame-like Paramatma's presence within our heart. Okay? So that is our dhyana. Okay, now questions? We have 2 more, and so we will finish this Valli, and then by that we will finish season 18, and then the next one will be from August, and then we'll figure out physical classes and online, all of that stuff. But yeah, that's how it's going to be. Okay, any questions on all of these things?
No, I think it's clear.
What is that?
I think it is clear.
Clear. Okay. So now, what happens? See, Sadhana. Yeah. Was there a question? Okay. Yeah.
How we include a female form of that is the Aditi, you say, no? How
Yes.
we include this in Jnana Rupa?
No, in the Dhyana Rupa, it is saying not the Aditi form, it's saying the flame. It's like a flame. That is the Dhyana Rupa, it's saying, right? It's a smokeless flame.
It is Bimbamurti. You say that female form of God is also there in he is watching.
Aditi means etymologically in Sanskrit, Aditi means the one who eats. That means the eater of the universe. Durga, basically Durga and Durga Antaryami Aditi.
Okay. How we include them, she in the prayer?
How do you include them in the prayer? You have to see Ashtabhuji, right? The Durga has 8 arms. So that form you have to. Again, it depends on the what mantra you're using for meditation. Each mantra has its own Dhyana Rupa.
Okay.
So
regarding the meditation mantra, it changes.
See, Durga is the Tamo Rupa, right? I mean, that means she rules the tamas. So one of the forms of Durga that in the mantra that I've seen, Dhyana Rupa, she is wearing kind of a black, like a sari kind of thing, and then has 4 thing, and one of them is called Tarjani Mudra. So Tarjani Mudra is like this, where we say, hey, be careful, right? So that's Tarjani, right? Our index finger is called Tarjani. So when we warn somebody, we do this. So in one of the arms, I forget whether it's a right hand, a lower or higher, whatever, she is holding a Tarjani Mudra. So that is one, but that's for that specific mantra, that form. Where, if you are thinking, right, Hri and Shri are Parshva. Ahoratre Parshve, right? So that Ahoratri is Shri and Bhu. So if you look at that Shri and Hri, right? So now if you look at on the right, Paramatma is Shri Devi. On the left side of Paramatma is Bhu Devi. And that's the only 2 we are looking at, right? But in front of Paramatma is Durga Devi.
Okay.
So so you need to know all of those things to do that kind of dhyana.
Oh, I am asking the flame form of without the smoke and all. We are doing Paramatma dhyana. Then how we include the female form of Paramatma? I am asking which rupa is that?
So either you have a form or you have a flame.
Flame only I am asking. How to include
there's no form in the
female
flame,
form
right?
of Paramatma?
Yeah, it's
Who
a flame.
is the female form of? who is the female form of Paramatma, that is Aditi, that is Durga Devi, how to include him in the Paramatma Rupa?
It's included, right? There's Neha Nanasti Kinchana. That flame is also Aditi.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So that is, it's like, the form doesn't mean it's different. The form is also the flame.
Okay.
Its form is for us, right? So that's what it is. So yeah, and you can give a name and then pray to that as Aditi. And you can Aditi. You should, it's better to pray as the Antaryamini of
Paramatma.
Durga Devi.
Okay.
Right. So that's what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, so when we do that, that's a sadhana, right? So then everything has a counter. What happens when we know otherwise? Right? Nana iva pashyati, right? So now this explains a little more. It says yata udakam yathodakam durge vrishtam parvateshu vidhavati evam dharman pratak pashyam taneva anudividhavati. So it gives an example. What happens if we know or understand otherwise? Right? Whatever Yama is saying, if our understanding is not like that, what happens if our understanding is opposite of that? If we misunderstand things, if we confuse, if we just gather without even being critical of things. It says, yatha, just like udakam, where the rainwater, durge vrishtam. That means Durga. You know what Durga means? What is the etymology of Durga?
Destruction.
It's what?
Destruction.
No. See, Durga, that means very hard to reach. Go. Ga is go. In Sanskrit, ga means go. Dur means, like dukkha is dur means it's suffering. So dur means it's hard. That means that's why that which is hard to reach is called Durga. Right? And that's why a fort is a Durga, because it's very hard to reach. A peak of a mountain is a Durga, means it's very hard to reach the peak. So Durga basically etymologically means that which is hard to reach is Durga. Right? Suga would be what? Sugamana. That means it's easy to reach is Suga. Durga means hard to reach. That's basically what the etymology of the name is. Durga. It's very difficult to go to reach, right? So Parvateshu Durga means the peaks of the mountain are called as Durga, peak of the mountain. Because why? Because it is hard to reach. It says just like the rainwater that rains on peaks of the mountain, what happens? Parvateshu vidhavati. Right? What happens? It goes on the sides in different ways, goes down, right? Remember, what is Parvata? See, Parvata is mountain, right? So mountain, see, there is Giri, there is Parvata, so there is they're different. Parvata is where there are Parva is there, right? So the Parva means there's folds. It's exactly like Himalaya is Parvata. Right? Himalaya is Parvata. Why? Because it is coming together of the Indian thing to the mainland, right? So the sense has a Parva. This is Parva means there are two parts coming together creates a mountain. That is called as a Parvata, right? And everything is Parvata. Now, every hill is a different. Parvata Giri is different. Parvata is different. Himalaya is a Parvata. But then other hills are different, right? So that is why it is it's very different. But again, in the Puranas and all of these things, sometimes it is used interchangeably, but that's not the same. Like for example, Parvati, right? What is Parvati? Parvata Raja Putri is Parvati, right? Also, I think there's Giri. There is also a name of Parvati that she's Himalaya Putri. There's also something which talks about Giri, Giri Kanya. Something is there. The name of Parvati. which is not
Girija.
really, what is that? Girija.
Girija. Yeah.
Girija, correct, Girija. So Girija is actually Parvati, but it is not true because Himalaya is not a Giri, it is a Parvata. So Parvati is the correct name. Girija is not a real the correct name, but in the Puranas it uses it. But technically, etymologically seeing, Parvati's name is Parvati. Girija is not the right name because Giri and Parvata are not the same. So that is so Parvateshu Vidhavati means when it rains in the peaks of these mountains, the rainwater flows down in various paths, but it's flowing down. So then it says, what does Evam Dharman, just like this, just like the water flows down, Dharman Pratak Pashyam. That means he who sees the various acts of Paramatma, and every all of these things. There's he who sees Paramatma differences within Paramatma, Taneva Anuvidhavati. Just like that, they are go down in the sense that there's a vicious cycle of going down our in our journey, right? So there's a virtuous circle that takes us up, which is our sadhana, right? Where the agni of knowledge increases, just like the fetus increases in a pregnant woman. But then a wrong comprehension and seeing difference within Paramatma and not understanding Paramatma the right way, what happens? It will take us just like the rainwater that rains on the peak goes down in various ways. We will follow the vicious cycle that that takes us into kind of like a very lower rung in our journey. So that is that what it says. That it's very important to understand it the right way. Dharman pratak pashyan. That means do not see a difference in Paramatma. Do not see differences in Paramatma. That is one of the most important part sadhana or understanding in the sadhana, right? In the contemplation. Okay. So that is 14. And the final one, if you look at the yathodakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam tadrigeva bhavati evam muner vijana atma bhavati gautam. Then finally what happens? When the when the actual sadhana happens, then
Any promise?
okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says yatha udakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam eva bhavati. That means when you put pure water into pure water, they mix. They are similar, right? You cannot differentiate between the water that you poured in to the other water, right? They are both pure water. Tadrik eva bhavati, right? You need to remember, becomes similar, right? Not the same. And why it's not the same? Because the volume increases, right? You pour one water to another water, even though you cannot see the difference, the volume increases, right? So that means they are similar but not the same. Evam muner vijanata atma bhavati gautama. The same way, when this jnani understands Paramatma, becomes the same. This is called as the sarupya moksha. That means in moksha there is sayujya, salokya, sarupya, and all of those things. That means this is a moksha in which the jiva has done so much of good sadhana and is such a good jiva that he enters into Paramatma and you cannot differentiate between them. So that is the difference. So that's called sarup. So see, and the debates are tadeva bhavati or tadrageva bhavati, right? Is there is a merger the jiva merge into Paramatma. So here it says it is like water adding into water that looks similar. Tadrik means just like it looks, but it is not the same. If it was, the Upanishad said, Yathodakam Shuddhe Shuddhamasiktam Bhavati, becomes the same. It, if it said, that means one water, if you pour another water, it becomes the same. But that's not what the Upanishad is saying. When you pour pure water into pure water, it is like they're similar, just like that. In a Sarupya Moksha, it's actually talking about Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma. When the universe ends and he dies, then he attains Sarupya Moksha with Paramatma. And so just like water enters into water, he enters into Paramatma, and his Ananda is coming directly within his Paramatma. He enters, and that's called as Sarupya. You cannot differentiate. Okay? So that is called as Sarupya Moksha. Salokya Moksha means where the Moksha is within the same region. Right? They say, you've gone to Vaikuntha, or in the Moksha can be in any other, it could be in Agni Loka, Varana Loka, and also in a Bhuloka. It's said that there are unreachable parts of this world on earth where moksha jivis live. Right? So you can live anywhere. If you're Salokya, you can live. Salokya means actually where Vaikuntha and all of those things. That's Salokya. Where that is called a Salokya, but it could be anywhere in the world. But always Jagat Vyapara Varjam means there is no contact between the world, samsara, and the mokshas. There is not going to be any connection at all. There is not going to be any connection at all between the world and the moksha jivis. Right? So, if you go connect to the 15th chapter, where he says, Krishna says Akshara. So I explain Akshara as the nature, but Akshara is also what? Akshara is also the mukta jivas. Even they, right? They are not born, nor do they die, nor ever connect with the world. So they Akshara. And in the Purusha Sukta, what does it say? What does it say? I mentioned that in the Purusha Sukta. Yadannena atirohati, right? Anna is those who depend on food, which is all the beings in samsara, including Brahma. So from Brahma to all the devatas, to mankind, and to all of these asuras and all of that, they are food eaters. Whatever food it could be, right? The devatas, harvest is the food of the devatas. But still they are dependent on that. So they eat the food, whatever that food is. But the moksha jivas, they are not. Uta amrutatya ishanaha. They are amrutatva. Okay? So they have no destruction nor any birth. And Paramatma is greater than the liberated ones and also beyond the created ones. He's always, and that basically it's kind of like what the Upanishad says here. Ishanaha bhuta bhavyasya saevadya sa ushvaha. So that's basically the sense, which is also in Purusha Sukta, right? So what it is saying is Brahma, at the end of creation, when Brahma dies, what happens? He attains Sarupya Moksha. So he attains, just like water enters into another pure water and becomes very similar, so you cannot differentiate. Right? So the same way, all of these high Atmas go into Paramatma, and through there they enjoy the bliss of their nature. They get the freedom of and again it's like if you look at the Taittiriya, it says that Brahma, when Brahma attains the moksha, this Brahma is seeing the older Brahmas that have already attained moksha. Evam samagan, they say ahamannam ahamannam. So the Taittiriya Upanishad, it comes that Brahma, the older Brahma, chanting the Samaveda mantras. So they're, so that means they're not merged. They can also come out, it's freedom, right? There's no limitation. There's nothing. Limitation is in the created world. Once you break that, it's free. It's play, right? So it's like that. So and the Taittiriya Upanishad talks a Brahma, one Brahma meditating, one Brahma within Paramatma in a Sarupya Moksha. So it is all of these various things, which is all beyond this world, this universe. Okay? So that is what it is. And so, and with that, iti Katopanishadi Dvitiyadhyaya Pratamavalli. So with this, the first section of the second chapter of the Katopanishad ends. Okay, so you can see that it talks about the Paramatma is powering our senses, powering our states of consciousness. Getting all of the our whatever we experience, Paramatma experiencing as Madhu Adam, as bliss, and then entering us, and also creating the universe and getting within each of these, all the created beings as its antaryami, entering us in its female form as as the goddess of destruction, and then destroying us and destroying the universe in the end, and then how the knowledge is through discussion and debate and being critical and understanding things critically, and then how it is very important, and then arpita, right, where where the most important thing, attribute that is required to attain in this sadhana is what? Losing of ego.
Are you back?
Okay. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I was saying, and then it says how it's important to that Purnamada Purnamidam, all of that is how important that, what is within us is infinite, what is out there is infinite, the Brihat Rupa is infinite, the Anurupa is infinite, and what is within me is the same, not similar, the same that is within you, and every part of creation, everything is the same. Paramatma is the same everywhere. How it is important to understand that infinity, part of infinity is also infinity. There is no finite part of infinity. Very important to understand that he is what he's infinite now, he's infinite in the past, he's infinite in the future, he's beyond time, all of those things. How that dhyana should be done within the space of the thumb as a flame without smoke within our hearts. He is as Atma sitting next to our Jiva, protecting us. As Antaratma, he's sitting within Jiva, within us. So all of those things, right? Within the body, within Jiva, Chaitanya, all Chaitanya. So all of these things are there. And then those who don't understand this, they go into the vicious cycle of being kind of damned, in the lower rungs of our journey, and that is just like the water the rainwater that pours on the peaks of mountains. They run through various different ways, downward. The same way our journey in life is going to be like that if we don't understand it that way, right? Critically, if we don't understand it critically and with open mind. And then it says, in the end, what happens? Brahma, once the whole of creation ends and Brahma dies, Brahma himself attains Sarupya Moksha, where he merges within the Paramatma and then experiences bliss within him. But it's not just that. He, in one form, he is in chanting the Samaveda, just like the Taittiriya Upanishad says. So there is moksha everywhere, but there is sarupya moksha. So tadrik means like him. He becomes, he attains that form where he is similar to Paramatma and within him, right? Sarupya moksha. But Sayujya moksha, with him. Salokya moksha, in the same place, right? There's all different kinds of moksha. So all of these mokshas are there. And then Am Munir Vijanata Atma Bhavati Gautama. Gautama is, so Nachiketa is Gautama Gotra. So his Gotra is Gautama Gotra, or Nachiketa of Gautama Gotra. This is what happens in the end to to Chaturmukha Brahma. Same happens to all the other sadhakas that attain moksha. Okay, with that we come to the end of the first valli of the second chapter of Katopanishad. So let me open it to questions and anything you want to ask. Let's another couple of minutes. Anything you want to ask, I'll answer that. Any questions? Okay, one of the things I put was, social media influencers are going to be hit. Any question on that?
Sorry?
If you don't want to know, then I'll not say. No, you have to unmute. You can all unmute, and then we have already done with this. So.
Hi, Sunil. Yeah, there is no question for me, but at least thanks for explaining the details of each and every mantra. I know it takes so much of an effort from your side to go through each of the mantras and explain what exactly it means, and also open up various dimensions to how our thought process should be, and the introspection and things like that. So I know one thing is, after so many times of listening to all this, also uh, you explaining us, and we going through the drill of again explaining and going through that. That is what is the manana that we talked about, right? And that manana is something which is extremely good. Like the Shravana, and we have not done this Shravana for, means you have made this Shravana happen many times, but still it is more of manana also happening along with the Shravana, with new concepts being exposed, and that is amazing. And the way you are outlining this whole thing is of how, what is the sadhana and what should be our like even the last week's special emphasis on why Jyotishya in terms of Adhyatma sadhana and not in terms of worldly this one. That is also a big eye opener, because how we look at things also makes a way of how, means what are we really looking at? Is it like really looking at our day-to-day life and gains and not, or are we looking at a bigger picture, right? That's the whole and all of these things really are really very nice to listen. And these sessions are, I know, I really thank you for doing this online. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for me that it is happening online just because of a distance. But at least from now on, whenever it happens online, it's really good for me. And it also helped me listen to the last classes that you recorded, which gave me.
Actually, I see Sheelan is here. So he is actually logged in from UK, right? He's in England.
Oh.
Yeah, I very much appreciate you doing this online.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Sheelan.
Oh, you're welcome. No, thank you. It's really, I don't get to listen to every single one, but yeah, every time I sit here and listen, you learn something new. So thank you.
There's so many new things in all these Upanishads. So yeah, and that's why probably in summer we might do Jyotisha kind of for sadhana. How these things are, whatever the Upanishad is saying is already encoded in Jyotisha, right? Understanding that is very, very important. So you need to know what is your sadhana, where you should start, what you should do, and all of those things, they are encoded in your horoscope, your birth charts. That's very important to understand that, because that will reveal you the secret of where you need to do, where if you do is more effective, where it's not effective, where you can attain success, where you cannot. So all of those things are very important to understand that. So if there's a chance, then I'll see if we can do these classes, at least a couple of those, where we can look at the adhyatma sadhanas of that's encoded within these charts, right? And yeah, I mean, I mentioned just to make sure, keep it very interesting, so that and we are seeing this social media issues and all of those things, right? So today Rahu is moving to Kumbha Rashi, and Ketu, of course, will be opposite that in the Simha Rashi, and then Guru entered Mithun Rashi, right, Gemini, and that's where communication is. So you will notice that because Guru is there, if anything is all this fluffy and anything that has no content or doesn't have the stuff, they will lose out. Sometimes some things will happen, right? I mean, we are seeing a lot of controversies going on in India about these influencers, but that's going to be world over. You will see a lot of crackdown or something going on with these YouTubers and other influencers who are putting out fluffy content or useless stuff, right? There'll be a lot, because Guru in Mithuna is very, and that's the reason why I opened, if you notice, I opened the GIA, for everybody to contribute, and because that Guru is enabling those good conversations. Let's keep it good, and but in the world you will see, and I've told you now, but you'll notice that there'll be a huge crackdown on useless content. There's a lot of people that are going to lose out. So and that's all because of the Guru that has entered Mithuna, and he's a Bhiti, he's in a Bhiti state, which means he's accelerating, which means fear. So and so that's another thing. So another Kuja, the Mars Dasha of India is starting. I think so you can see a lot more changes going on. So the next 7 years, the Mars Dasha is there for India. You'll see it's not going to be it's not going to be peaceful. There's going to be a lot of, and which is for good, because after that the Rahu Dasha is going to be wonderful, because there's exalted Rahu in the Lagna, and I believe, if I am not mistaken, the person that chose the Muhurta for India independence was Surya Narayan Rao, which is what's his name, the famous astrologer who died in Bangalore. His father, I think he is the one that gave the Muhurta, Tira Muhurta, Rishabh Rashi. So it's going to be fantastic, but the next 7 years, there's a lot of turmoil. Right? You'll see that. So let's hope everything is for good, which will be for good. But the crackdown is needed, and that's going to happen next 7 years. You'll see a lot of things going on. But let's pray to the Paramatma is all there in our hearts everywhere to bless and keep dharma alive, right? And if you don't know, see in the Puranas, there is a Durga Avatara in the next 10,000 years, within the next 10,000 years. Durga takes an Avatara.
My God. Too long.
What is that?
Too long for us to wait.
I know. No, in our time scales, it's too long. But for them, it is a blink of an eye, right? It's like that.
Thank you, Sunil. It has been a great pleasure to listen to you. We are very, very grateful to you.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you can join from India also when you said you're leaving today, right?
Yeah, we are very happy that you attended the last session also. Thank you so much.
We will certainly attend from India.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sunil ji.
Thank you. Okay, I think, is there any question, or can we stop? Because this is the final class for season 18. So this is the 18th year coming to close. Right? In August, when I start, it's going to be the 19th year. So hopefully, if I get a chance, then we'll do a summer session on Jyotisha as part of sadhana. We'll do that.
What is remaining is the Guru Dakshina.
No, there's a Guru Dakshina is, you manasa eva idam aptavyam. Neha nanasti kinchana. You have to contemplate on it. And, for me, this is a sadhana. I have to let go. I cannot charge for this. So that is my 12th house. I cannot charge for this. And so, there's a lot of those things there in this, why I am doing and all of that. But, so very important, right? So, we will meet again in August, and then there are 2 volleys, 2 more sections. Very interesting. So we'll see, how our mantra, where urdhvam pranam unnayati, that is the next section. That's the second section of the second adhyaya that comes there. So we will see all of those things, and then there is also how creation happens. How I told you, right? So this section talks about in the thumb-like space, within the heart there is Paramatma, but for each of us there is a particular rupa of Paramatma that we have to meditate on. So my form of Paramatma that is within my heart is not the same form, even though they are same, but to me it's different. And so that mantra will tell you what it is, like how that happened. And it's called a rupam pratirupo babuva. So that was, there's, for every one of us, there's one form for us that in that we should focus on. Each one of us should focus on that form, which is very, very personally us, and that is seen from the Navamsha chart, right? So we'll see that next time in the next section, how to see that in the Navamsha chart and all of those things. So it will be very, very important for sadhana. Okay. So now let's finish this with the prayer. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachano Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thank you,
Sunil.
Saroji.
Okay, then bye, and see you in August or maybe in the middle.
Yeah, hopefully in the middle sometime.
Yeah. Yes, sure.